This is Top Shop Podcast.
Top Shop Podcast.
A show way beyond the story. Get ready to accelerate your car knowledge and ignite your love for automobiles. Podcast for automotive service business owners by Paul Donahue.
Hey folks, welcome to Top Shop Podcast. Today we got a really special guest, Sean Campbell. He's currently the Chief Marketing Officer at Swarm Digital Marketing in Arizona. Sean has been in the digital marketing space for a long time, and he's very, very knowledgeable, especially with social media. So he's going to talk today about why social media is so important and the benefits of social media, and why all shop owners, whether you're a shop owner or whether you're a Swarm Marketing, specializes in pest control. So so it doesn't matter what kind of business that you're in. If you're in a business and you're not utilizing social media marketing, you will be by the time we get done talking to Sean. So Sean.
But that's our goal, Paul.
So it is important, but it's always really good. Of course, our agency and all other agencies engage in social media marketing for our clients. But it's sometimes better if they hear it from a third party who's really, this is your forte. You got into digital, you kind of moved towards the social media niche. That's what you wanted to focus on. And that's what you enjoy doing. And you did a really well job at it. In fact, you owned your own company doing it for a long time before you went to Swarm. So without further ado, let's introduce Sean and just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved.
No, thanks, Paul. I really appreciate this opportunity to be on your podcast and really just share some good value and information to your audience. And as you mentioned, I had my own social media agency, specifically with just concentrate on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a few other platforms for my clients. And I had that agency for about 7.5, close to 8 years. And before that, the 2 years prior to that, I actually worked as a social media analyst for Kia Motors America. So, nearly 10 plus years. And now with merging with the partners I have now, I've been doing this for a while. And what I love about it is that each and every day there's something new to learn. But like you said, Paul, the importance of social to play its role, in my opinion, the biggest benefit, and it's something that not just auto collision or auto service centers, but businesses in general tend to overlook, is the importance of just brand awareness. Just keeping it simple. A person cannot visit your shop or thinking about going to your place or location if they've never heard of you. It's that simple. And one thing that I always talk about with a new client is, how many impressions, meaning how many times before somebody sees the name of your shop, whether it's online or if you're still doing TV, the traditional methods of, marketing, how many times in our era, because there's so much noise before somebody recognizes the name of your shop? It's about 20 to 25 times. So if you're not on social media, adding, at least attempting to add to those impressions that we see, your competitors are. And it's a major disadvantage for you if you're ignoring your presence and your branding on social media.
Right. So how did you get started in what did you, because you got, tell me your story a little bit when we first met, but I couldn't remember exactly, but you had started in this industry and then you kind of just gravitated towards the Facebook and the social media. Could you tell us that story real quick and why?
I do actually have a marketing degree, like I said, from the Eller College, here in Tucson at the University of Arizona. And a lot of my first marketing gigs were all around automotive service, collision centers, auto glass. And I love cars, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a gearhead, but I do love cars, in particular, fast cars.
Right.
So it's always been kind of a passion for me, and it's an industry that I've always kind of kept my eye on, especially here in town, to see what other local automotive businesses are doing, just out of curiosity. Marketed for, like I said, several of those people locally. Then when the crash hit, I had to actually find a job. Worked for a corporate for about 10 years. And then I got fed up with corporate, got fed up being able to kind of control my own destiny, so to speak. Got back into marketing, started my own agency. And what's ironic, and I find this with many other, automotive type of business owners, it's like we don't like social. I'm not a big fan personal of social media, but I know from a marketing perspective, it's kind of a necessary evil, to some people.
Yeah, I feel the same
That's
way.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not too thrilled about social. I've never really liked social.
Yeah.
Well, it's free. So what people don't understand,
Mhm.
you are the product.
Yeah, that's a tremendous way to put it, Paul. I mean, it's a way for a lot of people to feel as if they know you. Here in Tucson, networking, being a part of, you know, tremendous groups. There's a few places that are kind of hot spots where a lot of small business owners kind of hang out and mingle. There's nothing better than going to a networking group or one of these spots and someone says, "Hey, I know you from somewhere." And 9 times out of 10, it's because of my presence on social media, in particular LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I think it's one of a very underutilized platform. If any of your clients, are looking to attract maybe fleets or particular businesses to work with, LinkedIn may be a pretty good play.
Right. Yeah, we've always, I've got two clients that specialize in fleet. They do auto repair also.
Mhm.
But, it's like
Nice.
if you get 1,000 minnows, you got a bucket full. You get a whale, you get a boatload.
Mhm.
So the fleet service,
Nice.
for the auto repair, we always focus on the pay per click, but then on the fleet service, we
Mhm.
focus on LinkedIn. Exactly what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
That's where they're going to find the other professionals to connect,
Yeah.
on there. So, what sort of profitability have you seen with other? Because that's what it all boils down to.
Mhm.
Shop owners are trying to
Right.
bring in more profits, and
Yeah.
they're like any other business, they're getting hit with everything, insurance and labor
Mhm.
and you name it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Parts. Yeah.
uh, what can they expect from a social media campaign? Because I already know what to tell our clients, but it's
Mhm.
good if they hear it from somebody else and hear it from a professional. How long does it take, do you feel, for a business to start seeing a decent return from social media campaigns and advertising, which is so much very different than
Mhm.
Google? Google with pay-per-click ads. If I
Mhm.
auto body repair near me, I'm
Mhm.
right now looking for an auto body repair shop this instant. So that's the benefit of
Yeah.
Google ads. But
Yeah.
auto repair shop, okay, so an auto repair shop, this is more maintenance. Okay, I want to take care of my car. Paint protection, I
Mhm.
want to take care of my
Mhm.
car. So
Mhm.
in those type of campaigns, what can you advise our shop owners that are listening as far as return on investment goes?
Yeah, well, it's a long game. First and foremost, it's a long game, and I always like to talk to new clients as far as there's two kind of sides to the coin, so to speak, when it comes to social. First, we talk about the day-to-day stuff, your organic posts, and as counterintuitive as it may sound, um, if I was to work with an automotive a service or a repair facility now, I would actually post a lot of good stuff, good videos on how to maintain your vehicle. Again, it sounds counterintuitive, but let's talk about how to check you know the pressure in your tires. Let's start with all the filters, or like you said, how to take care of your paint. Stuff like that positions your shop as the leader in the community and in your industry, and you're going to move up the top of mind awareness factor as well. It's a long game. I in those type of services where you don't need them for every, if it's an automotive service, you're kind of visiting every 2 to 3 months, depending on how much you drive your vehicle for an oil change or whatnot. That's kind of what you would expect, that type of campaign. But I like to run campaigns where it's a lot of brand awareness. Again, I'm staying in front of that audience that we target and retarget. Collision centers, and I worked with an auto glass company for a number of years. That's different, right? Because you don't know when you're going to be. Hopefully, you're not getting an overabundance, because that means there's nothing but collisions and bad weather and all that. But you just have to be in front of those people. I mean, it's a very tricky thing to kind of guarantee an ROI in those particular in collision and auto glass, but you really have to train your staff to really ask those questions like, how did you hear about this? Where did you see us?
Right.
And a lot of times they're just going to say, well, I just saw you online. But you kind of maybe have to ask, well, was it social media? Was it Google? Where was it? So that's a very difficult question. But let's say if it was on the service side, I would say you would start to see that campaign if you run it very efficient in 2 to 3 months. It's a long game. But what's important is when they come in, ask them where they saw it, or I don't know if you're creating landing pages to where they get like an immediate, set up an appointment or not, which could kind of show the direct ROI effect. But it comes down to the people that your service managers and making sure you collect that information.
Yeah, I always ask all of my shop owners to ask how they find you. And that's usually the answer on the internet.
On the internet, that narrows it down.
That's usually what they usually come up with. So it's social media for businesses like pest control and for auto repair. What about emergency services? So we have a lot of clients in emergency services. One of them would be auto body repair. We also have, plumbing. We also have, water damage, water and fire restriction damage. Those are emergency type things. I don't see people that's something happens. You have an accident, a pipe breaks or whatever. How do you feel social media campaigns work for those kind of businesses, or do you recommend that you stay away from those?
It really depends on your whole strategy. It's not going to be much more than just a brand awareness play, in my opinion. Again, I would do a lot of maybe some like before and after type of photos on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Just to kind of raise your reputation, your online reputation. Most of us are going to go to your Google reviews or check you out on social media to see if you're active. I always think of it this way. It's like if you are in the running and someone is kind of, researching your business and they see no social media activity, but they see your competitor and there's a lot of activity and there's some engagement and they're providing a lot of good value and information, that may be the deciding factor whether someone goes to you or not. If your last post was, on, July 4th, 2018, they may be wondering if you're even open, right? But it only takes, a couple posts a week. And you got to show some gratitude to your audience and stay engaged with them, so that may be a deciding factor. And one of those emergency type of services, you're obviously not going to run any type of an aggressive campaign on social, but I would just run a very localized, even if it's just $100, $200 a month, just brand awareness, and maybe nothing necessarily dedicated towards your services, but maybe you had a big event. Maybe you're donating, some time and charity to time and money to a local charity. Right. And you just want to tell your community about that. Again, it's kind of putting you higher up on the rung of the top of mind awareness.
Right. Well, thanks for answering that argument for me, because I get a lot of those that say, well, why should I do I should just do PPC. And I'm like, no, you need to do it because we need to keep awareness out there. So hearing it from an expert, now I'm gonna take that clip that you just said, and the next time one of my clients asks me that, why am I doing Facebook? I'm an emergency.
This is totally unscripted. You asked me last week, what should we talk about? And let's just talk, right? So for the record, everybody, this is unscripted. Paul didn't he didn't send me a bouquet of chocolates and alcohol or anything.
I'll tell you what, tell me one of your bigger success stories, because you've handled a lot of corporate accounts. A lot of businesses, not so much for a corporation, but maybe for a smaller business. And I know you've got a lot of them. That's why you own your own business. But tell me about really successful campaigns where, over a year, 2 years, all of a sudden the awareness just builds. And then all of a sudden that business just really starts making a lot more revenues. I've heard of, a lot of businesses, we've increased their revenues 20 to 50%, just through median paid ads. while we're working to get them higher up on Google. Tell me,
Mhm.
within a relatively decent period of time. So tell me about some
Yeah.
success stories that you've had.
I think one of the bigger success stories around here, and this is the reason why we actually got into the pest control niche. I don't know if I told you this when we met last week in Miami, Paul, but we were thinking initially of sharing your niche. We wanted to get an automotive
No,
service.
you and
Yeah,
Ron told me that you guys were
yeah,
in mind, and
yeah,
then switched over to.
yeah. But Wyatt actually is business partners with a local pest control company, and literally like a few weeks after he handed over his check to become partners of a brand new local pest control company, COVID hit, right? So they opened the doors, COVID hit. You know, they were originally going to send out, a lot of, people door to door, do a lot of outside marketing. That was all out the window. So all the marketing in that first year and a half for the Pest Friends is the name of the company, was all online, was all digital. At this point, I wasn't a partner with Wyatt yet. I was kind of I was a vendor doing the social. And so all the efforts were completely, online. There was the social part, there was the Google part, SEO, obviously. So they went from really, behind the eight ball from the get-go to right now they're doing a few million a year, in a matter of a couple of years. And there's a ton of pest control companies out here in Tucson. They rank high on the Google listings. Our social media efforts are really, really solid. But to be a part of that, where that 100% of those marketing efforts was all from our agency, so we had a tremendous case study, and we know that if we can do that for in a scenario like this, we can really do that for any pest control company across the U.S. We have a lot of content, we have a lot of data. I have ads that I know are very, very effective on Facebook and Instagram. So we have, the script or the blueprint in place, and we're really excited to share that with other companies all over the country.
Right, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So, what questions should I be asking? He says this is unscripted, so
Mhm.
you're the expert. So, what questions do you think I should be asking?
You should be asking me. I think one thing to kind of keep an eye on and just kind of looking at trends. This right here, what we're doing. If you could, talk to your clients about creating their own podcasts.
Mhm.
Obviously, it doesn't need to be super polished. I mean, Zoom is very effective, right? But the amount of content that you can produce just from this podcast, whether it's 15 or 20-minute long podcast, and the fact that you can be on Google and Apple, Spotify and Amazon and four or five other, platforms in a matter of a week or two. This video is going to go on, YouTube. You could chop this video up into different segments and trailers, use them as teasers. This in itself, and we saw this last week in the conference we were at. This, in my opinion, is the one most underutilized opportunities, because all of this content that we're not only providing your audience and my audience, but for ourselves. I don't think there's too many industries out there, in particular in automotive, that would not benefit tremendously from a podcast. And just talking about how to maintain your car, just bringing in people from the community to share, to help them promote their businesses, bringing in nonprofits, things that you're passionate about, just positioning yourself as a leader in the community and sharing your wealth and knowledge. And again, it sounds very, counterintuitive, but talk about, some of the vehicles that you've repaired in days that could have been avoided. There's nothing more powerful than sharing that type of knowledge, because then you're kind of outside of what maybe some of the industry's black eyes are. Let's face it, a lot of automotive service centers get a bad rap because some of the customers think that they were ripped off. But if you could kind of position yourself as somebody who can prevent, myself or anybody else that, needs maintenance or needs a repair, and feel confident because they saw you on a podcast, I think that could be tremendously powerful.
Yeah, thanks for that feedback, because we preach to all of our clients that when we write their websites, everything now with Google is EEAT. They started off with EAT, the acronym expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. Now it's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And by shop owners taking a few minutes to do a podcast or to do like informational videos. Hey, if you go to a auto repair shop, be sure that you watch for these things. Or if you go to a paint protection company, be sure that you check what kind of ceramic coating that they're putting on your car. You know, the kind of questions that the average consumer wouldn't know to ask, you know, and that's the kind of stuff that people really like. And that massively lends to experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And since you're taking the time to put that information out there to the public, Google sees that and they reward you accordingly. So, and it's one of their big, you know, that's the major algorithm change that they had just recently. What are some core values or guiding principles that you feel have contributed to your success in the industry?
Some of my mentors, Paul, and you know, in particular, this guy named Ron Moore. He owned a company out here called Star Auto Glass. He and I knew each other for a few decades. You know, he and I used to be competitors when he first
Really?
bought stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was funny because he and I would get together for lunch about once a month and just, you know, talk about how important it was for ourselves to kind of set a new standard in our industry. Back then, Paul, here in Tucson, people were just running commercials and getting this, you know, this contest for a trip to Vegas. Because the auto glass industry was so profitable, lucrative, there were companies just buying business like that. And he and I always kind of went out and, you know, wanted to earn the business from, you know, the people that we're marketing to. I have found Ron as being such a fair guy, you know, in the way he treated his employees, the way he paid his employees, the way he treated his customers. He was very much, I'm going to take care of my employees, you know, like family, and in turn, you know, we'll treat all of our customers the right way. So, and just fair. I think fairness is critical. I think having, you know, I'm not advocating one way or another, but just kind of a faith, and just kind of living by some core principles.
Sure.
And just I think all of us, we haven't known each other that long, Paul, but I think all of us kind of fallen under the imposter syndrome from time to time.
Sure.
You know, and then sometimes with an amount of success, I mean, all of us kind of have, you know, do we really earn this? And you got to have that belief in yourself that, yeah, you do, you know, and have that self-confidence in yourself. I think it's very, very important as well.
Yeah, you reminded me of a quote from Richard Branson. Richard Branson always said, customers aren't first, the employees are first, because the employees take care of the customers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was very team member, employee centric, because he knew that if they were happy, they're the ones that are taking care of the customers. So
yeah.
turn that around. What trends or developments do you see with social media? I mean, you know, we all see the trend with Google. They did the spammy link update. They did the news update, and then they did EAT. So this was the first time in a very long time that Google changed their algorithms on how they index content. Content has always been king. Backlinks are queen for SEO.
Right.
How Google indexed that content changed radically. So there's been a lot of radical changes there. Where do you see? Because it's changing pretty quick. You know, Elon Musk bought Twitter. You know, thank God. You know, so what do you see changing in the face of social media? What sort of
you kind of alluded to it, because I'm very curious to see where Threads is going to go. You know, his buddy Mark,
right.
His buddy Mark, you know, counterattacked with Threads, which is basically Twitter on Meta. You know,
right.
Grew a very, very substantial amount of following very, very quickly. I've been dabbling on that myself a little bit.
But I was baffled by that. Is there that many people that don't know that they're signing up for for basically a Twitter that's totally what do you call that? they decide what you want to hear and what you want to see.
Yeah, but there is a little bit difference in the algorithms. On Twitter, you're going to get kind of fed to what you've shown most interest in.
Right.
According to some reports and information I saw last week, it looks like Threads is going to be more kind of a real time for the people you're following. To post something, it'll be up at the top of your news feed as opposed to what you're most interested in. So there's a little bit of a difference. So based on how recent your posts were. So which I think that's the way Facebook and Instagram used to be, right? So I'm kind of digging that. I haven't found a scheduling platform yet to kind of dabble into posting on Threads for myself or a few clients who are already lined up to be my guinea pigs. However, without lifting a finger, I've already gathered close to like 800 followers without really trying. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so that could be I always preach more of have an omnipresence on social media if you can, meaning you're not relying on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, kind of utilizing them all each.
Right.
Yeah. So this could be another. Granted, it's under the metaverse, but it could be another opportunity to really establish more of an omnipresence out there. So that's kind of the big thing right now that I'm keeping my eye on mostly. And then I think we talked about this last week. It's like the importance of AI and how you'd utilize that for your business. I know a lot of business owners are very, very much against it. We use it every day here. I'm not saying it ever provides the end product as far as any content or for us, but it's a good starting point. For me and my team, the social media team, we use it for creating content calendars and just giving us new ideas. And I'll be honest, I mean, our creativity has gone through the roof, productivity has gone through the roof. Again, it's not giving us an end product, but it's kind of almost like a virtual assistant for us. So,
Yeah, I think all agencies are using AI assistant. Like AI assistants have really helped us with our content writing. It's can't rely on it solely, but it's really helped us. Like with the outline, it can take several hours to do an outline where AI will do it in a few seconds, and then we can kind of match what the writer was thinking and get ideas from AI. So I think AI is going to continue to change the face of digital marketing forever, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's already made some radical changes, and all for the better too, for the for clients, for the agencies, and for everybody involved. So this is a kind of a personal question because you work a lot of hours, probably like I do. How do you approach work-life integration?
I throw it out the window, to be honest, Paul. I love what I do.
Right.
I would say 99% of the people I hang out with get irritated with me because I love work and I'm always thinking about it. But if it's something that I love what I do and I'm passionate about it, I'm not one that's gonna be the person that works 8 hours a day. I don't take an hour lunch. I don't, I'm usually the first one here every day and the last one to leave. And I feel great. I am more stressed on a Sunday if I don't work because I'm coming in Monday with more stuff to do. I love, the success stories we get from our clients. I love when it looks like a client just walked in right now and, they've literally been in here before and say, Sean, we're getting too many calls. That gets me going. I love that, so I don't subscribe to the work-life balance. If you love what you do and you're passionate about it and you're having a great time, you enjoy the people you work with. I do get up in the morning and I'll do a walk. I'll do some exercise. I make sure I take walks, throughout my day, I try to eat well, but other than that, I'm not one that's going to say I put in 8 hours a day, then I go home. I'll work 50, 60 hours a week and be happy.
Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Yeah.
Weekends I record my vlogs in my studio I've got downstairs. So,
Nice.
so anyway, I don't know of anything else to really ask you.
If your audience ever, wants to get a hold of me, have them email you first and send
Sure.
those questions. And if you want to text me, that's fine. It's 520-339-0259. Just
Okay.
any questions about social media in general. I'm always open for your audience, Paul, whatever they need.
Yeah, these were some questions for successful business owners. So I didn't really have a set of questions to ask for someone that was in specifically in social media. But anyway, Sean, thanks a lot for your time today. We really appreciate it. So you've given some really great, valuable insights to our shop owners. I'll look forward to seeing you again at another intensive down in Miami. And tell Wyatt we said hello.
I will. I appreciate you, Paul.
Thanks, Sean. Bye.
For additional automotive resources and exclusive content, follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all our episodes. Thanks again for joining us in the driver's seat, and we'll see you next time for another thrilling episode of Top Shop.